Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakarishu Sarvada. Om Ganganapade Namaha. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha. Gurureva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Sarva Mangala Mangalle Shive Sarvartha Sadike Sharanitrambake Gauri Narayani Namostute. Om Aim Rim Klim Chamundaye Viche. Om Durge Durge Rakshini Tata Swaha. Om Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Shri Hanumate Namaha. Welcome to Nitya Satsang. Today is the 19th of April 2025. I want to offer my prostrations to all the great sages and to Paramatma residing in the heart of every single being. With that bhavana, we are continuing to examine Advaita Vedanta every single day. And we are currently going in detail in the Vivekchudamani, verse number 77, where Adi Jagat Guru Shankaracharya Ji is talking in different ways about the realization that you are Brahman, you are that supreme consciousness, that is the essential nature. So that is called Paramarthika Satyam or Paramarthika Satta. Sometimes it is called that way also, the absolute reality. I want to spend the next 15 minutes or so talking about some of the ways that that absolute reality is described. It is not something that is actually describable, but it is described still with certain technical terms. So the ultimate absolute transcendental order of reality, Paramarthika, it means that it is the highest truth. It is existence. It is reality. It is being. It refers to exclusively Brahman, Brahman, Brahman meaning the absolute, ultimate, non-dual reality, which is characterized by Sat Chit Ananda, right? So Sat Chit Ananda, which is Sat means being, existence, Satyam. Chit means consciousness, and Ananda is bliss. So Brahman is non-dual. It is one without a second. It is the only reality. This is non-dual. It is Nitya. So Brahman is Advaita, meaning it is non-dual. Brahman is Nitya, meaning it is eternally existing. The three avasthas, Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, they are not eternal. They keep changing. The experiences are changing constantly. Every moment the experiences are changing. Brahman is not changing. It is a divine consciousness. It is the divine consciousness. It doesn't change at all. It is eternal. It is Nitya. It is also unchanging, meaning it is Kutastha or Avikari. Two words are there in Sanskrit. Kutastha and Avikari means there's no vikar, there's no transfiguration of it. Amazing. Then that same Brahman is self-luminous. It is intensely luminous. It is beyond the light of the sun and the moon. The sunlight or the moonlight or millions of suns, it is described this way. That the light of millions of suns is that luminosity of Brahman. So that is called Swayam Prakash. That is the Sanskrit word. Swayam Prakash, self-luminosity. It is also partless. It cannot be divided. It is whole. That means it is Akhanda. Brahman is Akhanda. And it is devoid of these attributes of Maya. So it is Nirguna. And it is devoid of distinctions. It doesn't have any distinctions like we have in Prakriti. That is why it is called Nirvishesha. Right? It is also beyond name, meaning Nama. These are all the words, I'm just going through them here. And it is beyond Rupa, the forms that we are seeing in our waking state, dream state. It is beyond all of that. It's beyond space, meaning Desha, beyond time, meaning Kala, and beyond causation, meaning Nimitta. So these are all words that are talked about to try to describe this Brahman. Now, what is the implication of all of this as far as just our day-to-day experience, our day-to-day reality? It has implications with regards to the mumukshu wanting to realize this. See, there is most of the people in the world are within Rajogun, Tamogun. They are bubukshu, not mumukshu. They're still just rolling around inside Rajogun, Rajsik Bhav, running after the Vishayas, and then going through the cycle of birth and death. There's nothing new in that. There's absolutely nothing new in any of that. So they're not doing anything new, even though technologies are advancing and all that is going on. But the fundamental drive is not anything new. So they just stay in the sansar. They could stay in the sansar for millions of lifetimes, billions even. I mean, nobody knows how long, unless they can get to mumukshutvam level. So from bubukshu, meaning wanting to just enjoy the vishayas and the worldly experience, and from there to transition into mumukshutvam, is to say, no, this is all very limited. There's nothing more here. That is, then the vairagya begins to open up, and then the one becomes a mumukshu. Then that mumukshutvam opens up, and then sadhana begins. Continuation towards Paramatma. Then Bhagwan is worshipped. This spiritual path begins to come out of the cycle of birth and death. Even to understand the cycle of birth and death is a big thing. To accept it is another. To recognize that it exists and then to say, I want out of this thing. That's not a small thing. Most people just want only to stay in that only. That's all. Nothing other than that. We cannot come out of this thing because our mind is not even evolved to come out of that. But this is where Vedanta begins with this. That the cycle of birth and death is to be transcended. You see, so the Jivatma can go into Svargalok, and the Kshinya Punya Mrityu Loke Vishanti will drop straight back down into Mrityu Lok after the Punyam is gone, and then continue the process again. And if certain lower level karmas are done, we'll go into the animal species, plant species, bugs and insects and things like that. Is that what we want? Don't want to become a devta, or don't want to become a manushya, or don't want to become a lower life form. None of this. पिंड ब्रह्मांड से पर निज आत्मा, इससे बाहर निकलना है. वी वांट टू गो इनटू भगवत धाम, भगवान के धाम में जाना है, नॉट इन दिस ब्रह्मांड एनीमोर. कितनी बड़ी बात है. हु अंडरस्टैंड्स दिस? Shankaracharya ji himself stated, Vairagya extends all the way up to the 14 lokas. Up to Brahmalok. Brahma ji ka jo darshan ho jayega. That's a big thing. It's on the border of the Ishwaras. उनका भी लोक है, it's called सत्य लोक. वहाँ भी सब ऐश्वर्य है. Even Vairagya with all of that. To go outside that. Just think about the level that the scriptures are written. Now, does that make any sense from where we are? ये सब लोक की बात है, ब्रह्म लोक की बात है, सत्य लोक की बात है, स्वर्ग लोक की बात है. Of course. These are not far away from us. They are actually all within us. It's not anything far away. Everything is within us. Within us meaning as this vritti becomes more and more subtle, as vritti gets purified and connected to the approaching Brahman, the infinite consciousness, all of this appears. And if you get stuck in this intermediate stuff, then one can be bound inside. You can see, yes, in samadhi, these lokas can be seen. Definitely. If the vritti begins to uplift, it's possible. If you can take Namah Shivaya mantra or डूब जाओ Namah Shivaya mantra में, सब दिखेगा. You see everything. Yeah, but the purification has to be there. That kind of dhyan sadhana, that intensity of sadhana, and you get glimpses of these different lokas, different places, things like that can happen. Most people don't get that because we cannot even cannot be freed even from this sansar, from this layer of reality. तो आगे की क्या बात है? You see, so, but even if you get those glimpses, that is not the goal. The goal is Akshara Brahma, जिसको अक्षरधाम भी कहते हैं. अक्षरधाम, this is a word that encompasses Akshara Brahma, और इसमें वो आगे की बात है, even beyond Shankaracharya ji. But we will leave that discussion for some other forums for that. The point here is that when the Atma Tattva is realized, all of these lokas and everything, they are dreamlike. They exist, but they don't exist. All the way up to Svarga Loka, all the way up to Brahma Loka. And then once that is crossed by the grace, by upasana, Bhagavat upasana, Bhagwan Krishna ki upasana, Devi ki upasana, Shivji ki upasana, Narayan ki upasana. Once you are in that firmly fixed upasana, that is called Archi Marg. So a path of light appears. And God, Bhagwan ke dham mein se mukta aate hai. Liberated beings, or the Lord Himself comes to take the Jivatma out of the Brahmand, give the Jivatma a divine body. Isko kehte Brahmamay Sharir. Isko kehte Bhagavati Tanu. And then with that soul that is Nirakar has gotten a body, but it's not this kind of physical body. It is a Chinmay Sharira. It is a consciousness body. And that body is needed to see Narayan and to be in the upasana of Narayan. Or Bhagwan Vishnu, Bhagwan Shankar, the forms of God in the abode, in the dham, in the different dham that they are present. To see that form, to see the presence of God, one needs a divine body. Otherwise, the Jiva and Nirakara Brahman are one, and it ends right there. So in one sense, the Brahma Tattva is the only thing that exists. Even those bodies that are made, but to see the Lord and all, that's all Brahma Tattva only. It's just taken different forms in the divine realm. Just like how you have water that can take different forms, right? It can take ice form and vapor form and things like that. It can take any form. You can put it inside a container. It can be one form, this form, that. Similarly, God can take any form. The Brahman can take any form. And the liberation meaning once one is outside the sansara chakra, the liberation that is there, the mukta ki sthiti, that is based on the kind of bhavna, upasana that we have here. That is what will appear there. So for example, if someone is worshipping Sri Krishna and is in love with Sri Krishna, you will actually see where Sri Krishna is, the abode of Bhagwan Krishna. Assuming that is a bona fide path, and assuming that is, that actually exists, one would have to go through that to see is that actually so. You would get glimpses of it. So these are not imaginary places also. It's not just, imagination is part of the Sukshma Sharir. That's not what we're talking about. The Atman is beyond all that imagination. But we're talking about the fact that when this Paramarthika Satyam is realized, the question here while we're alive is what is the experience or where we want to go after we leave this body? That's the only real question in life. There's nothing else bigger than this question. कहाँ जाना है? शिव जी के पास जाना है? भगवान राम के पास? God is only one, but in which form, in which way you want to see the Lord? That He will show you in that way. And then there are scriptures for that. There's paramparas for that. So many things are there. You see, even Advait Vedanta, in many ways, everything we're talking about, it just takes us to Brahman. That Atman and Brahman are one. इसमें और कुछ अनुभव नहीं. Like we said, nirvishesha. See, there's only just akhanda ananda, satchit ananda. It's not a dualistic state that you're seeing Narayan or Vishnu or Shivji or anything like that. But if you want Ishta Bhakti, even in the liberated state, that kind of bhavna, sadhana and nishta, Swarup Nishta is developed here. That in the liberated state, that's what happens. So whatever understanding we have here, the sadhanas we have done here, the state of mind we have here, that will generate the next layer of the next type of reality. Now, if somebody is just a good person, does a lot of punyam and all that, they wind up in the Svarga Loka. You wind up in heavens for a long time and then come back down from there, fall right from there, right back into the Garbhavas again. Because that's Bhog Bhumi Vaha. You see, so those are the heavenly planets. This is how this works. So Paramarthika Satyam, it depends on how clear all of this is. That Jnana and Vairagya come about first from this sansar. And then from that, as the vritti develops further, the higher lokas may appear. They will appear. But even then, that is discarded. Siddhis might appear, lokas might appear, other things might appear. It's amazing stuff. It's like, people love to go to Alaska and Hawaii and all that. That's nothing. If you get a glimpse of that, even one glimpse of the Swarga, it's all perfection. 100% perfection. Beyond what we can imagine even. It is that kind of perfection. You see, those are called the heavens. Right? But Shankaracharya ji is saying, in Vachanamrut mein bhi likha hai, that even to have vairagya of those places. Think about that. We get drawn if we see somebody's big mansion, 20-room mansion. They have a big garden and they have a boat and they have a massive swimming pool and all these, lot of vaibhav. We say, wow, what an amazing place. Wo to kuch hai hi nahi. It's a trash actually compared to the Swarga Loka. And the Swarga Lokas are trash compared to the Bhagwan ke dham. This is written in Moksha Dharma. Moksha Dharma is a chapter in Mahabharata. इसमें भीष्म पर्व है. There's something called भीष्म पर्व in the Moksha Dharma chapter in the Mahabharata. इसमें लिखा है ये बात, that these heavenly places, they are like hell compared to the abode of God. भगवान का जो धाम है, वैकुंठ धाम है, श्वेत द्वीप, ब्रह्म धाम है. These beyond these lokas, those that is so much. इसका intensity is so is incredible. It is that these Swarga Lokas are trash. Think about that. And Hawaii and Alaska and all these amazing, extremely beautiful places here on this earth are nothing compared to even one glimpse of the Swarga Lokas. There's Maharlok, Janlok, Taplok, Satyalok. There's all these different lokas, all the way up to where Brahmaji actually exists. So there's beings, there's rishis that are staying in those places also. It's beyond our imagination, but it's possible if a sadhak reaches that stage where from this sansar one has total vairagya. If you want to see those things, you cannot be stuck in this place. Ye to kuch hai hi nahi. There's just, you continue your sadhana, live in this world. It's all child's play. It has koi consequence nahi rehta. Anything that happens inside this sansar has zero consequence. If you come to that point, that is akhanda vairagya. And then these other things open up. But if we are getting stuck inside this Prithvi Lok, then we get stuck here only. You see, so that is the difference. We do our seva, but that's why Bhagavad Gita teaches us, don't get stuck over here. Asanga shastrena dridena chitva, chapter 15. Asangatva, Bhagwan Krishna कहते किसी का संग अंतर में नहीं रखना. कोई हमारा है ही नहीं, ये शरीर ही हमारा नहीं है. If you want to get out of this thing and go into the highest of realization, where there is boundless ananda, one has to be out of these entanglements completely. I mean, not even the slightest entanglement is acceptable. Not even the slightest. Think about that. Then only that Tivra Mumukshutvam comes and the doorway opens, Archi Marg opens. But if I think I'm stuck somewhere with somebody here in this sansar, bhul jao. You'll be back again. Back chasing that thing. It's that dangerous. इसीलिए वैराग्य and ज्ञान परिपक्व, in Gujarati we say परिपक्व बनाओ. ज्ञान and वैराग्य बेपाक छे. These are two wings of the true mumukshu. But it's very rare. It doesn't happen. That's why Shankaracharya ji has stated, it is durlabham trayame veta devanugraha etukam. This kind of tivra mumukshutvam is extremely rare. So think about our lives, just in our day to day, how many desires pop up? We were worried about somebody, something here is going on, something there is going on. We put on this political thing is going on. 1,000 things we're concerned about. We need to be aware of it. But to have Brahmadrishti towards that, वो एक अलग बात है. ज्ञान और वैराग्य is a tremendous state of living. इसको महामानव कहते हैं, इसको ऋषि कहते हैं, इसको बड़े बड़े संत कहते हैं. If we want to reach that, we can. But most people don't even know that can be reached. And the entanglements in the chakras are so severe. The chakras are damaged for most people. That's the reason why there's so much sickness, so much disease, so much problems, so much conflict. One has to come out of all of that. Saintly qualities. All this is necessary. Bhagwan ki upasana. And then, if you pull it all together, the mumukshutvam is Tivra mumukshutvam, absolute mumukshutvam, that with love for all, don't misunderstand, love for all. the boundary falls away. This is my small boundary. This is my community of people. This is my race. This is my tradition. This is my bank account. This is my home. This is me and mine. These are my kids. These are my grandkids. This is my wife, my husband. Functionally, it is there. Vyavarika Satyam. Don't forget, that's there. Because that is the nature of Maya. But internally, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. It's just like a person who is the owner of the gold shop, has thousands of ornaments. But he knows or she knows that it is only gold. People coming in there thinking about the ornaments and all that thing. But the person is concerned with the gold and the money that the person is going to get from the gold. He doesn't care what you buy. He cares only how much you buy. Right? It's like that. So the Rishi is one who recognizes that there is only Brahman and nothing other than Brahman. Nothing other than that Paramatma everywhere. Ishavasya idam sarvam. Then obviously conflicts are not there. There's love and affection for all. Duties are there. Vyavarika Satyam, as the Gita teaches. All duties are performed without any entanglement. And then something extraordinary happens. Just close with this point. The extraordinary is what? Our manovritti, our internal vritti, it becomes absolutely purified and it gets absorbed in upasana. Bhagwan ki upasana to karni chahiye. So once it gets absorbed inside upasana, that doorway opens out of the Jagra Sapna Shushupti. And if it is so to happen, you will get a glimpse of that divinity. वो जो दिव्यता है, इसका glimpse, आत्मा का glimpse आता है. It is an intense, bright, conscious light. It is not like the sunlight. Sunlight is very dim compared to that light. You see, so that is the enlivening light in the Jagra Swapna Shushupti Avastha. It is making the chakras lit. In Vedas, Bhagwan Swaminarayan कहते हैं, चक्र ने प्रकाश, आत्मा नो प्रकाश, the light of within the chakras is coming from the Atman itself. It's amazing. And all these other lokas are right inside that. All the different Brahmand and everything, all these galaxies you're seeing, they're all inside those chakras. They're access points. You can if you are a great yogi, you can go anywhere inside the universe or multi-universe. कहाँ भी जा सकते हैं. If a person is evolved to that extent, you see. But mind has to be completely cleaned off, decluttered. And then what happens? Just one more point. When a person comes back from the highest of realization, that person then becomes an instrument to help the humanity, to serve the humanity. All of the great rishis, most of them, they come back into the normal frame of life and continue with the normal frame of life in a way where there's karuna, there's shama, shanti, daya, all these beautiful qualities, and then the path continues to open. That is how this whole Brahma Vidya works. All right, let's stop here for now. Om Dhyanamulam Gurur Murti, Mantramulam Gurur Vakyam, Pujamulam Gurur Padam, Mokshamulam Gurur Kripa, Vame Yasya Sthita Radha, Shrisha Yasya Vakshasi, Vrindavana Viharam Tam, Sri Krishna Mrudi Chinte, Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Shri Hanumate Namaha, Om Divilingaya Namaha, Urdhavalingaya Namaha, Anandalingaya Namaha, ओम कर चरण कृतं वा कायजं कर्मजं वा श्रवण नयनजं वा मानसं वा अपराधं भीतं वा सर्वमेतच्छमस्व. जय जय करुणाब्दे श्री महादेव शंभो. ओम दुर्गे रक्षिणी ठ स्वाहा. ओम ऐं ह्रीं क्लीं चामुण्डाय विचम ग्लौं हुं क्लीं जुं सः. ज्वालय ज्वल प्रज्वल ऐं ह्रीं क्लीं चामुण्डाय विचे ज्वल हम सं लं क्षं फट् स्वाहा. ओम श्री राधा कृष्णार्पणमस्तु. ओम ह्रीं स्वाहा.